Hello everybody, and welcome to the first episode of the redo of Final Fantasy VII. You might notice that there is a continue option. That is not due to test saves. We'll go over that later. Let's start the game, shall we? So, a few things that I have to note about coming back. It feels weird. It feels weird to be coming back to YouTube, coming back to all of this, and I sort of don't know how to sort of, I don't know what I should use to describe it. I don't know how to behave myself. I'm very sort of off the cuff doing it. So the controller, I guess I should do that because I did that in my first LP. In my first LP, I was using a Logitech Chillstream Xbox 360 type controller, which is essentially an Xbox 360 controller that has fans in it, so it actually cools your hands while you're playing. But it connects through USB, mainly to be used with PCs. I don't know if it works with Xbox. I don't have an Xbox, so I don't know. But that controller really served me well, and then I lost it. It just got misplaced, and I have no idea where it is. But I got another one. I got a second one. I don't know why I'm mentioning that, because I'm not using it. The controller I'm using is actually a SNES controller, and I'm actually going to let you hear the face buttons. So A and Y are actually pretty normal. Just sort of clicks. The X button is it's like completely squishy, and there's no tactile feedback on it. And then the B button is really loud. I have yet to open this thing up, but I need to sort of find out if there's something weird going on with the controller. Alright. Now, let's get this started. Let's get back to this game. So, rationale, reasoning for doing this game again. I have a few reasons. The main reason that I want to do this game again is I just really enjoy it, and I feel like I didn't do it justice the first time. So, we're just gonna have to sort of, find out. Alright. This reminds me of when I was playing Final Fantasy Record Keeper this morning. I was actually doing, at the time of recording, there's a limited time Cloud event going on. So an event focused around Cloud and giving him extra levels and stuff. By the way, if you haven't checked out Record Keeper on iOS or Android, check it out. It's really fun. But I was doing the Cloud event, and I've already done the first half of it, which is the easy half. Then there's a difficult half, where you can get most of the better rewards. And it was in doing that when I went to the first mission. The first mission is actually on the ship in when you're traveling from Junon to Costa del Sol. And that Genova fight is bullshit. Like, I have no doubts about that. That fight is bullshit. Because Genova can use Stop, which isn't too bad because it just lasts a few turns. But that's the only attack it can use that turn. If it uses any other attack, tail laser, double laser, laser, or gas, it can attack twice. And being that it was difficulty level 45 and all my characters are below 30, maybe I shouldn't have been taking it on so early, but I died a lot. I'm actually really surprised that I got a champion rating for the fight, but yeah, somehow it happened. I think that was mainly due to the fact that in the game, when if you die, if your party wipes, you can like respawn by using mithril, which is like material you get throughout the game by just doing missions or doing dungeons rather. And one of the things that I noticed was when you do this, you use this continue option, you get a choice of 4 different cards, and you get to pick one, and that card will give you some sort of a buff. So it'll buff your HP, attack, defense, or abilities, which was interesting. I think it's an interesting mechanic, at least. I should note that the mic that I'm using a Blue Yeti microphone. A bit of an upgrade from the last microphone I was using back in the day, but right now I'm still using it on the included desktop stand, so if I knock my table or my keyboard, you can hear it a lot. I am actually just waiting to get paid for my job, which will be in 2 days? 3 days, I think? One of those. And then I'm going to order a sort of boom mic stand. Due to space issues in my room, I am still going to have a desktop-mounted stand, so it's just going to clip on to the side of my desk, but it's still going to reduce noise. I'm also going to get a pop filter, because right now I don't have a pop filter, and I have to sort of angle myself a little weird so that I can talk directly into the microphone, but still talk not directly at it. Because if I talk directly at it, you can hear that my voice is a little bit clearer, but if I do, you can hear my breathing a lot. And I don't like that. I don't like that as a thing. Alright. I probably shouldn't be that close to the mic, though. I'm always, like, right next to it. So, let's get the arrow. I like the arrow. He's interesting. So for this episode, we're gonna go through Reactor 1, finish the first boss fight, just sort of get a taste of what the game has to offer. I am gonna be skipping through most of the dialogue and not really paying attention because I've done this section of the game 1,000 times. But I am going to sort of let the text stay there for like a second. So if you really do want to read the text, you can go back and pause whenever there's a dialogue box that you don't get a chance to read. Sorry if I'm skipping too fast. I am going to increase the text speed. I almost forgot to do that, and I have to do that right when I get control again of Cloud again. So I'm gonna do that right now. Just go into the menu, config, memory, active. Fast battle speed. I'm gonna set the battle message to this. I don't set it to the fastest because then it just, it essentially is like you're mashing A on regular field messages. So it rolls through all of them really fast. But in the middle or on the right, it's really freaking slow. So I'm gonna keep it at about here. Yeah, that seems about right. So let's continue on with Reactor 1. Now I actually want to do one more thing. So there is actually rows. So you probably know the game, but for people that haven't played this game or don't know what the mechanics are, it's very similar to other JRPGs in that there is a sort of row system. So there are 2 rows, front and back. And in order to switch rows, you can move characters around like this, so swap them around and stuff. But in order to put people in the back row, all you have to do is select them, and then just simply place them in the same spot. And right now, Barrett is in the back row. So what that's going to do is he's going to take less damage, but if he were a physical fighter, he would do less damage. On the other hand, Barrett is mostly a ranged fighter. So he has a gun arm, and guns are long-range weapons. So he'll do the same amount of damage from the back row as he would do in the front row, but he'll take less damage in the back row. And I want that because Barrett is awesome, and I want to keep him alive. Cloud, on the other hand, would do less damage in the in the back row, so I'm going to keep him in the front. There is one exception to this sort of mechanic. Or 2 exceptions, rather. There's back attacks, where your characters are attacked from the back, and there's pincer attacks. So, Let's go over back attacks first. So back attacks is where the enemy attacks you from the back. You see the battle thing come up. Your characters are facing away from the enemy, and the enemy is facing towards you. In this instance, where this happens, your rows will be flipped. So, for instance, now Cloud is in the front row, Barret is in the back row. In those instances, in those cases, Barret will be in the front row and Cloud will be in the back row. So in those instances, if it's a tougher battle, I will be using magic with Cloud because that is not susceptible to range. So it won't affect it. I'm not used to talking so much. All right. Pincer attacks, on the other hand, negate all rows. So mostly. So there are two types of pincer attacks. There's the pincer attacks where your characters are... there's the pincer attacks where your characters are pincering the enemy, so they're on either side of the enemy. In those cases, I believe that... I believe there's no sort of fixed... Maybe I should optimize that better. But, there's no fixed rows, so everyone is in the same rows, essentially. So there's essentially just a front row. I'm not sure, though. It might be that there is a back row in those instances. For the other pincer attacks is where the enemy surrounds you. And the reason why those battles are harder, in most cases... Actually, no, in some cases... The reason that some battles are harder when that happens is that then the row matters, but there is, like, if there were two enemies on the left and the right, it would affect the rows of your characters differently. So, like, if the back row is on the right and the front row is on the left, then the left enemy would do more damage to the front row party members, while right-hand enemies would do more damage to back row characters. I'll explain this better once we actually get a pincer attack. I don't think that's going to happen for a while, so I gotta remember that. It's time to set us up the bomb. I actually don't know where that comes from. Huh. I'm playing one-handed right now so that I can research while I play. I have a text. Oh, it's cool. Nothing's wrong. Oops. Sorry if I... this is weird. Oh. It's the same thing as all your base that belong to us. Alright, so this is the first boss fight against the Guard Scorpion. I forgot to bring up this small menu. That's weird. Okay. There we go. For some reason it registered double inputs every time. Alright, there we go. So I keep my cursor on memory so that it's essentially throughout this entire fight I can just mash A or mash circle on the regular PlayStation joypad. Gamepad, whatever you want to call it. So there's a point in this battle where you want to stop attacking. So right now this is the third search scope. I want to stop after he does his next attack. So essentially I have 2 or 3 attacks I can get in. Maybe 4, actually. Yeah, I'll get in 4. So I can do one more set of attacks right here. And then he'll put his tail up. And the text on the top of the screen should be warning you about it, but it does it wrong. So right here, we don't want to use an attack, because he puts his tail up. So we're actually just going to use a potion. Those double inputs could be bad. So he actually says, Cloud actually says, attack while its tail up. It's supposed to say don't attack while its tail's up, because if you attack while its tail's up, he's going to counterattack. And this is one of the reasons why I set the timer to active, because if you set it to wait, then it waits every time you go into a menu and stuff. whereas this way it goes faster. Also, why I set the battle speed to max. Usually this is how I have it, but it's in some cases, for some battles, I like to set it back to wait, because that way I can actually sort of strategize more. So we should be able to kill him before he puts his tail up again. Oh, excuse me. Cloud has his limit break now, so those are basically super attacks. So those limit gauges fill as you take damage. Oh, he's dead. Didn't even have to use the limit break. Alright. So, when the limit gauge fills, if your time meter for that character, that specific character hasn't filled, it's going to fill really fast the next time it has to fill. And if it is on its way, then it's going to fill the rest of the way really fast. Essentially, it's going to give you a super attack that you can use really fast, which is really useful in sort of clutch situations. One of the things that you want to do... Oh, let's just run. These guys don't really give me that much experience, so I'm just going to run away from the fight and save time. Because I have a surprise at the end of the video. Yeah, you probably already know what it is. Alright, so as you can see, we get a 10-minute timer. It's really generous because it takes maybe 5 minutes to get out of the reactor. And if you're speedrunning and just running away from all battles, it takes way shorter time than that. So, for instance, we should be able to make it out of the reactor by the time it switches, by the time the 7-minute mark hits, essentially. So, once it switches down to like 6:59, we should be pretty safe. I think we should be through by then. So that also depends on how my RNG is with battles. Oh, this is actually a back attack. I probably shouldn't have done that. Essentially, one of the tricks you can actually do in back attacks is when your characters are facing away, they actually take more damage when the enemy hits them. So in order to negate that, what you can do is you can quickly press the runaway buttons. So that's L and R, or L1 and R1, I believe, on the PlayStation. You can like quickly just press and release, so that the characters start running, and then they will turn around. This will ensure that you take less damage from that particular encounter. So interestingly, we're actually going to be getting out at about the 8-minute mark. Oh. If this encounter didn't happen, that I would have been getting out at around the 8-minute mark. But it's going to take a little bit longer because these guys take a while to fire. So yeah, 10 minutes is really generous. I've never actually, I've run it out intentionally, but I've never done it on accident. So 750, that was actually a really, yeah, didn't take long. But yeah, so essentially what we're going to do is, for the next portion, after blowing up the reactor, we actually have to get to a train so that we can get back to sort of home base. And once we get through that train portion and get to the next save point after that, that's when we're going to actually end this episode off. Now, for the future of this LP, sort of, doing the extra bosses and such, I'm not sure if I'm going to be training normally for that, or if I'm just going to be showing it off through extra saves that I'll have at that point. Because I'm probably going to be doing, tests of upcoming sections as we go through the LP. Just on doing that on separate save files. So I'll probably use those as sort of demonstration saves where I'll demonstrate the sort of uber bosses. So we're actually going to buy a flower here. I am going to spoil something right here, in that there are a few characters in the game that you can have a sort of date element to them. So this character, which is Eris, you already know that. Tifa, who's coming up soon. Then you can actually have a date with another character called Yuffie, which is an optional character. Then there's Barrett, and I'm not sure if Red 13 was an option. We're actually going to run away from all these fights. I have no reason to fight them. So, yeah, I'm actually going to sort of ahead of time. The date that I'm going for is Tifa. That's the one I usually go with. That's the one I went with in my old LP. But if you guys want to see something else, please do comment and let me know, or tweet me at SuperSlayer on Twitter. If you suggest something else and I get sort of what I deem would be enough suggestions for doing a different date, then I'll do that. So again, if you want to read the text, then just pause and read it. I'm sort of like skimming the text as we go along because I really do enjoy the storyline. I enjoy the dialogue. There are a few moments where it's really bad. There is something I do have to point out. I think it's in this episode. No. It's in the next episode. Never mind. It's not here. It's not, doesn't come up yet. Alright. Well, actually, it kind of comes up. Oh, well. Anyway. So... there was something I wanted to talk about. Oh. I wanted to mention something about the character of Cloud. In this game, he's a really fun character. He's sort of cocky, he just kind of, yeah, he is what we think is himself. Advent Children, he wasn't very nice. Well, he was nice. He was a cool character. He looked cool, but he wasn't the Cloud that we thought he was, you know? And, I'm really... like, one of the things that fixed Advent Children a lot for me was Advent Children Complete, the Blu-ray version. It's a really, really good version of Advent Children, and it's just a lot of fun to watch, in my opinion. A lot of people hate that movie, though, and I completely understand that, but I'm not one of them. I really love the movie. Alright, so we actually... I hate it when I go a little bit too far. So we actually have to talk to Jesse, because we have to go through a train sort of... it's not a tutorial, it's just an overview of how the train system works in this world. I am going to skip past this. I am going to mash the button right now, and you're probably not going to get any chance to read this text, because it's not interesting and it doesn't matter. So it does talk about the security checkpoints. Those security checkpoints will fail the next time we're on a train, and we're gonna have to jump off. That comes up in the next episode. So there. And that's just a really sort of long-ish section if you don't skip through it, and I really don't like it. I don't like having to sit through something that doesn't matter in the slightest. So, interesting characters all around, eh? Freedom fighters or terrorists, however you want to view them. Me, personally, I like to think of them as freedom fighters in this instance, but then again, they are the protagonists, so you're kind of meant to. You're meant to look at them as freedom fighters and not terrorists. Excuse me. I don't know why I'm yawning. I'm not tired. And it isn't late. It's actually quite early in the evening. Huh. Alright. So we're actually coming up on the save point very soon. I still think that the graphics in this game look fairly good. Like, if you compare it to graphics at the time of 1997, they were pretty good. they haven't aged well. There were definitely games that looked better at the time, but they still looked good. It had its own sort of definitive art style. It had its own sort of unique look, and I still feel like it has a unique look to it. I do mod the game a lot. I don't just for fun. I mod the graphics a lot because I think it's fun to mod the game and sort of get a different person's perspective of what the game should look like. Now we are definitely getting a remake. We've gotten a confirmation of this, and I'm really, really excited. And I want to hear what you guys think. Do you think it's going to be good? Do you think it's going to be crap? Let me know. Alright, so here's the big surprise. This episode was actually recorded on... What was it? It was Monday, October 26th, 2015. That was the original recording date. But today, it's actually Wednesday, October 28th. The date that this episode was supposed to come up, and as you can see, there are actually 2 save files here. These are actually from the 2 episodes that I've recorded. The second episode is not going to be re-recorded because it came out correctly. It came out the way it was supposed to be done, and I'm not going to save this game because I am re-recording the first episode. What happened was I recorded it in a format called FLV, and it wouldn't open in Sony Vegas Movie Studio 11. Yeah, I have an old editing software. Sue me. So, or don't sue me, actually. So, one of the things that I was thinking was, okay, the episode came out pretty well. It plays fine on my computer. I'll just upload it. And so I uploaded it, and I scheduled it to go out today, and it went up today, and then it failed because, well, it went up, and the video technically worked, but it was all kinds of messed up, and I have no idea why. So, what I'm gonna do is I'm actually going to process this video properly, and then I'm gonna upload it again. I'm gonna be a little bit late on the upload, quote-unquote schedule. It's not really a schedule. But yes, the next episode is actually one I recorded yesterday, which was Tuesday, October 27th, 2015. And that one will have the regular commentary. Then the episode after that will sort of continue on from this commentary. It's weird. I know. We're just gonna have to roll with it. It was something that happened unexpectedly, and I didn't really have a lot of time today. I only had time tonight, and so... sorry. Thanks for watching. If you like this video, then... hey, thanks. If you have any questions or if you have any comments, leave them in the comment section down below. And if you want to ask me something maybe more personally and have a better chance in me responding, then tweet me at SuperSlayer on Twitter. Thanks again for watching, and I'll see you guys next time. Take care.